And hello, everybody. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the EFG show. My name is Stephen Dutzman. I am your host, as always, and I'm joined by Jeffrey Walker from the not quite so frozen north because it's almost summertime. Jeff, how are you?
It's snow 2 days ago here, so we're still good.
Yeah, exactly. We had snow a couple of days ago too. It was crazy because it is May. Um, Standard tradition while we wait for people to show up in the chat. Um, that was kind of neat the way they. Well, first off, did you watch Money in the Bank?
I watched the Money in the Bank match.
Okay, so it's okay for me to just like because I almost spoiled it for you because like I had the status on Facebook ready to go, to say like who won, and then I was like, oh, I wonder if people maybe haven't seen it, so I don't want to spoil it. And boy, was I glad I didn't just outright say who got it.
Yeah, because that was crazy.
Yeah, it was nuts. It was absolutely
Though,
nuts.
I think there was one way it could have been better, but I see why this didn't happen after Monday. But what I would have really loved for them to do is if Mandy Rose would have gotten into it, and you could have had all these shenanigans with Otis and Mandy.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair, but we get it. I mean, they put the belt on Asuka. That makes sense.
Well,
Um,
yeah, but at the time we didn't know Becky Lynch was leaving for, well, indefinitely until.
Pretty much forever. Although, let's be real, when she comes back, that pop is going to be
Yeah.
insane. Kate saying that it frosted overnight a couple of nights ago in North Central Connecticut. Yeah, it was nuts. Welcome to the EFG show, everybody. Believe it or not, we actually have a pretty packed show. Today was a day of many things, and let's just dive right in. To give y'all a preview, we get to talk about a new Paper Mario game. We get to talk about some Tony Hawk, which I think Jeff and I have varied levels of excitement for. I get to talk about a World of Warcraft board game. We get to talk for the first time ever about Grand Theft Auto 5 on this podcast. And more information about next generation Fortnite. Dun dun dun. Let's just get started. Jeff, first thing on the docket. Every week, you, and don't mind the noise in the background, my daughter is ordering my wife on what to do in her Animal Crossing town for her after she goes to bed. Because this is what we do now. We have a tiny dictator in our home. Um, so you spend. You are one of the community managers for EngageFamilyGaming.com.
Yep.
You definitely help keep things alive either on the Facebook page or in our Facebook group, which you can get to by going to EngageFamilyGaming.com/community. But one of the other things you do, and I would say probably your primary job, is you put together a release list of family-friendly video games, by which we define as games rated T or under, because teenagers are part of the family
Yep.
too. And you put that on the Facebook page every Sunday morning, and then I turn that with you into a blog post that publishes sometime during the day on Monday. So why don't you tell us what all came out this week?
Yes, so out this week we had on Tuesday, May 12th, we had Hunt Down for PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. Jet Lancer for Switch. Star Wars Episode 1 Racer for PS4 and Switch. And Tabletop Racing World Tour Nitro Edition for Switch.
Sure.
On Wednesday, May 13th, we had Deep Rock Galactic game preview for Xbox One. I was not sure if this was a release. I could not figure it out, so I put it in there just in case. Um, Island Saver for PS4 and Switch. Patata Fairy Flower for PS4 and Xbox One. And Super Mega Baseball 3 for PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. Then
So
on Thursday...
I want to talk a little bit about Super Mega Baseball. Super Mega Baseball is just close enough to it's like a really nice cross between like Ken Griffey Baseball and Nolan Ryan Baseball on the SNES and the show. Like there are some simulation elements, but just enough arcade elements, and it's just kooky enough. It is a really fun baseball game. I absolutely love it.
Okay.
So if you're looking for a baseball game, particularly if you don't have a PlayStation 4 and can play the show, the Super Mega Baseball is a great option. and it's budget price too. So
All right, and
carry
then
on.
coming out today on May 14th, we had Armed 7 DX for Switch, Carnage Battle Arena for Switch, Cooking Simulator for Switch, Colot for Switch, Oddworld Munch's Odyssey for Switch,
Yep.
Cetasius Next for Switch, TT Isle of Man Right on the Edge 2 for Switch,
Which, by the way,
Wolflane.
not to interrupt. Which, by the way, that's a motorcycle game. You wouldn't
Yes.
think of that. It's a motorcycle game.
It came out a couple of weeks ago on the Xbox One, I'm pretty sure.
Yep, it did. And we had that.
Okay.
That's when I said, "Do you know what kind of game that is?" And you were like, "Nah." And I was like, "It's a motorcycle game."
And then we have Wolflame on Switch and Zenge on Switch. And then on Friday, May 15th, we have Dungeon of the Endless on PS4 and Switch, Emma Lost in Memories on PS4 and Switch, Hatsune Miku Project Diva Mega Mix for Switch, Kakuro Magic for Switch, The Eternal Castle Remastered for Switch, and Thy Sword for PS4 and Switch.
Sure. Sounds great.
Yep.
What's your pick of the week this week?
So, I have a caveat on my pick of the week because I wanted my pick of the week on the written article to be Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. But for some reason, there was no official artwork that I could use as the leading picture for the article. Like, Nintendo did not have a page for it, which is where I usually get them. PS4, if you ever want to look at games coming out, the PlayStation website is horrible about that.
Yep.
So as I couldn't find the picture, so I went with my second choice that I could find a picture of, and I went with Oddworld Munch's Odyssey, a remastered game from the Xbox One era, and I think the third game in that series.
Yes, it is. That's a weird freaking video game. Just an FYI for everybody that's the Oddworld games. Odd barely describes it.
Yeah.
Kate, wait, hold on. Kate had a comment. She said a cooking simulator and an Odyssey game. This is an interesting week for some like smaller titles. Go ahead, Jeff.
Well, and I was gonna say, I know the first two games in this year, they're more of like a puzzle side scroller, but kind of like, oh, what are the games? I can't even think of the games they're based off of, but where your person kind of moves slowly. It's not a platformer, but they're moving like in platform levels. And then this one, I believe, is a more of a 3D platformer.
Yeah, a little bit. Mm-hmm. These are weird games. When they started, the goal was to create a bunch of different games, kind of in the same universe, with a bunch of different genres. To the point where, like, Stranger's Wrath, which is in the same genre, in the same universe on Xbox 360, was basically like a first-person shooter. So, something to think about there. I can cheat because I'm in charge. My pick of the week is absolutely Episode 1 Racer. Because that's what I want to do. Because yes. Pod Racer, for some people, Pod Racer is one of the yes, and Kate said that the last one she played was Abe's Odyssey. Yes, it was on PS1. The pod racing is probably one of the only good things to come out of the prequel trilogy, according to some people. I think they were fine, but they really like the pod racing. So, and I have never gotten a chance to play that, so that is my pick of the week. I want to give that one a shot. Okay. Tons of video game announcements this week. Many of them are relevant to us. So let's just roll into right into them. The first one coming out, this was a surprise announcement.
Yeah.
This morning, July 17th, Paper Mario and the Origami King. Jeff, what do you think?
I am super excited. I love the Paper Mario series, and we kind of gotten off path a little bit with Sticker Star and Color Splash, and it looks like this one is going right back to Paper Mario's roots. Like, it looks like it's going to be a typical Paper Mario RPG. So I'm super excited. If it's anything close to 1,000 Year Door, I'm going to love it.
Yeah, I mean, ditto. I think that is those were exactly my feelings. So if you are realistically, when we're done here, if this sounds at all interesting to you, head on over to YouTube. Just look up Paper Mario Origami. It'll pop up for you. It's like a 2.5-minute long trailer. I think it looks cool. It definitely shows some of the, the cool charm of some of the Paper Mario games. It appears to return to the kind of turn-based roots of the Paper Mario series. It doesn't outright say it. I wish that they had said, like, hey, inspired by Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door or something like that, right? Like, I would have been very happy with that. But they don't. So I don't know what's going on. Can I help you guys?
No.
Okay, so
It just told me that Evan logged into Animal Crossing, but Evan didn't have his Switch, so I was trying to figure out what was going on.
okay,
Sorry, we thought we were hacked.
okay, cool. Apparently, we had a whole thing. That was a whole thing. So, all right. So, it would have been nice if they had said that it was inspired by Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door, but they didn't.
I mean, that door at the beginning of the...
I mean, listen,
It opens with the door.
It opened with a door, but, I mean, lots of things.
That looks very similar to the 1,000-year door.
Listen, I hope. Now, the combat, there was a video that went up in Japan that was like a preview of the combat system, and it was interesting, and it looked cool. Listen, I'm buying this game the day it comes out. I don't care. I'm going to play it. I love Paper Mario games. Kate Davis, super fan, says she has yet to play a Paper Mario game. Kate, listen. I know you have a GameCube in that house. I know you have at least half a dozen wireless GameCube controllers. You got them Wavebirds all over your house. I know you do. I bet you if you rolled onto eBay, you could get a copy of Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door for like $1.50. Maybe it'd be more. Well, you know what? I have the internet. I don't need to guess.
I have an app that tells me.
And let's see here. eBay is telling me that a used copy. You don't have a GameCube? Wait a minute. I thought. Oh, that's right. You don't have a GameCube because you play your Smash on the Wii, because you guys do the thing. Well, so you can play a GameCube game on your Wii. All right, so yeah, so Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. Okay, so maybe it's not $1. It's like, so it's okay. Maybe I'm wrong.
GameCube games are getting kind of pricey. But if you want a cheap one that's not as good, Super Paper Mario is less than $20 on the Wii, and it's not the best, but it's better than Color Splash.
Here's the deal: Paper Mario and a Thousand Year Door, probably one of the better games.
Yes.
On that whole system. I will stand by it. So my bad on that it's cheap, but worth every penny. It's just for the pro wrestling segment alone. So, yeah, I'm a huge fan on this. I love some of the effects. The fact that they can really do more 3D stuff on this compared to, say, on the 3DS or on the Wii looks gorgeous. Can't wait. There's like a whitewater rafting segment in the trailer, and it looks off the charts cool. So I cannot wait for that. And again, it comes out. It was announced today, and it's coming out July 17th. So we don't even have to wait that long for a cool game experience. So yeah, we're both buying it. Obviously, we will have reviews, and
it'll be a birthday present to me.
Happy birthday! It will not be a birthday present to me, but I need it for work, Jeff. It's important. It's for the children.
It's for the children. Yes.
Yeah, it's for the children. I mean, that's what I got to do. My wife is ignoring me now. Oh, Jeff is frozen. So, yeah, and Kate makes a really good point. July's going to be a good month. We got Paper Mario, and they put Hamilton onto Disney Plus. Which, man, the fact that they put it on Disney Plus this July as opposed to in the theaters next year when you would presume theaters would be back open is insane to me, because Hamilton movie theaters, this is just a side tangent, but whatever, we can do whatever we want. There's no cops. Hamilton in the movie theaters was going to make $1 billion, right? Like, easy. I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's a recording of the Broadway performance.
Yeah, like, I'm just sitting here thinking, like, there are so many people that want to see it that couldn't. Now, obviously, now they're going to be able to see it. It's even cheaper. It's just so surprising to me that it's not like they chose to put it out on Disney Plus instead of delaying it. They're pulling it forward. And, you know what I mean? Like, they're pulling it forward and releasing it early. I don't know if maybe they're just deciding to, like, save on production because now they don't have to put they don't have to do the theatricals. I really don't know.
Yeah, it was supposed to originally come out October of 2021, so
exactly. So they pulled it more than a year and a half early. Like, cool, I'm down, but really they obviously have the numbers. They know they would not have done it if it didn't make sense. Disney is very they're smart with their dollars, so they know what they're doing. It just completely caught me off guard.
Yep.
And so July is going to be a fun month. We got Paper Mario, Hamilton, and I can't imagine that's and also
Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost of Tsushima, which is coming out now. That is not for the kids.
Ghost
but
of
if you're
Tsushima.
an old school, we found out today that it's Ghost of Tsushima as opposed to Ghost of Tsushima. I probably could have looked it up. It is an actual place on an actual map. But we found out a little bit more. Ghost of Tsushima, not a family-friendly game. However, those of us who like old samurai movies, we get to go play an old samurai movie, and it looks pretty cool. That day is going to be very busy for me. I think what I'm going to have to do is during the day when the kids are around, I'll play Paper Mario. And then at night, after Maggie goes to bed, I'll be a crazy samurai ninja because he's a samurai and a ninja. That's the whole point. It's great. So, July's going to be a great month. All right, next. Jeff, you are obviously more excited about this Tony Hawk thing than I am. So, take it away. Tell us what they told us.
So, in the Summer Games Fest, they said there was going to be a reveal on May 12th.
Yep.
Of a brand new game. And then earlier, before it was announced, someone shared a tweet of a text Tony Hawk sent about a game he's excited to be working on. And then come to find out, the game coming out is Tony Hawk 1+2. So a Tony Hawk remaster of the first and the second one. I played a ton of these games when they came out on the Nintendo 64, the PlayStation. The soundtrack is amazing, and most of the soundtracks are coming back. They're going to have all new maps. I think they announced there's going to be new maps. It's just all super exciting.
Were you a big Tony Hawk guy at the beginning?
I was, and I kind of fell off after the original trilogy. I don't remember playing 3. I know I had 1 and 2, but then we would... So growing up, we never got games like on release day, but I think that's how most families were back then.
Because comparatively, games were incredibly expensive back then.
They were incredibly expensive, and we didn't have the internet telling us all the days games were coming out.
Well, that was the other thing. We totally didn't buy them the day they came out because we had no idea.
Yeah.
Absolute
and
facts.
So we ended up with like almost every series of the Tony Hawk game. My brother loved them, so once they came on sale, and used copies were coming in through GameStops, my brother and I would pick them up and we'd play them. But I remember playing a ton out of Tony Hawk's 1 and 2. Not great at them, but the soundtrack, as I said, alone is great that they're getting the original soundtrack.
Almost all of them. We did get some confirmation. They have most of the soundtrack. As you can imagine, licensing on those is a nightmare.
Yeah.
But they got the big ones, Yeah,
if you grew up in the 90s, I mean, it'll be hitting your nostalgia bones right there. Just listening to that music.
Did you grow up in the 90s, or were you like born in... Because you were like born in the 90s, right? Is that like...
No, I was born in 88, so I grew up I was a kid in the 90s. I guess technically grew.
Yeah, we're gonna do this every time. I'm just letting you know. We're gonna do it every single time. Yes, if you 90s kids will absolutely appreciate the music and the soundtrack in Tony Hawk. I'll be honest. I've put the sticks on a Tony. I put my thumbs on the sticks for a Tony Hawk game maybe 5 times in my life. That is not my style of game, because the issue, for those of you that have never played Tony Hawk, the idea is you are a skateboarder and you go across these fantastic levels and, well-designed levels. I mean, I can appreciate it for what it is, and the idea is you use specific button combos to get tricks. And the idea is to assemble in a given time limit a really high score based on like doing a really good run through the level, and there are collectibles and all sorts of other crazy stuff. My biggest weakness as a video game player, as we have talked about before, I am a hilariously bad video game player, is that I am that my buttons are bad. Like, I am just very bad at precise button combinations. So if you're bad at precise button combinations, you will suck at Tony Hawk. So I just know, like, when they announced it, I was like, cool. Like, so I knew there was going to be an announcement, and then we saw it was a text message that he was sending to some of his fans using a new app, Community, which, by the way, I have experimented with. It is quite expensive. I entertained it for 30 seconds and then realized the general would get very upset. So the no joke, it would have been bad. So I saw the text and I was like, oh man, I really hope this isn't it. Like, I hope this is like a leak for like something later on, whatever. And then it turned out to be the game, and for a brief second I was like really disappointed. And part of that is just because this is not a game I'm going to buy. It's not a game I'm super excited about. But then I thought about my son Jake, who I know he likes skate. He has a skateboard. And I thought maybe this would be a Jakey game, like his kind of thing. And so I showed him the trailer, and for a brief moment, I got kind of excited through him. And then he was like, "Yeah, it looks kind of neat. I'd play it." And that's just not good enough. Now, it is only $30.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a budget title.
It's a budget title, so I mean, if he really likes it, then maybe we'll grab it and mess around with it a little bit. If all the kids want to give it a try, who knows? Maybe Meggie will turn into like the Tony Hawk Esports Pro. I mean, you never know. But yeah, I mean, this is one of those things that there is definitely an audience for this game. I am not that audience. However, I am very excited for the people who are happy for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I am.
And to be perfectly honest, I'm not the biggest fan of Tony Hawk, but it was just exciting because, I mean, it just brought back, as I said, that nostalgia of playing these games growing up. With all these other games coming out in September, I probably won't pick this one up day one, but if I see it, in under $20 at a Best Buy or a Walmart, I might throw it in my cart.
Yeah, you will. It'll be okay. I won't judge you too much. In fact, I wouldn't judge you at all, because I'd probably do the same thing, especially if it's on sale. So this is one of those. It was a pretty big, and this was a pretty cool beginning to the Summer Game Fest, because the Summer Game Fest is from Jeff Keighley. He's the same guy that does the Game Awards. And he has, this is a pretty good start. I don't think that this was the be-all, end-all for many people. But I think this is a really good start to what could be a very promising and cool event, because it's going to run until August. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then I think also GameSpot and IGN are each doing their own things too, and I don't know if any of those are coinciding with each other or.
Well, GameStop and IGN are competitors, so they are not going to be. GameStop is going to be more, or not GameStop, GameSpot. From what we understand, they're going to have more reveals, but theirs is going to be a lot more live streams and like charity fundraisers and things like that. Whereas IGN is attempting to recreate their E3 experience with interviews and gameplay demos, etc. We do know that Ubisoft is doing an E3 thing sometime in July. We know that EA is doing a fully online event, an EA Play this year, sometime in June. So there's going to be events, but a lot of them are going to be kind of in this Summer Game Fest umbrella. But also games like Tony Hawk and things like that. They also unveiled the Unreal Engine 5, which is, for those of us that are consumers, not a big deal. But for the industry, Unreal is huge. So the fact that they debuted that as part of it, we're going to see some really interesting stuff. Okay, next announcement. This is one that I am very excited about. I told you about it, and you had literally no idea what I was talking about. You're like, what is this? So I want to talk about an announcement for a board game that happened this week, and that is Small World of Warcraft. So I'm going to throw an image right into the middle of our screen. I don't know if I can make it any bigger. Yes, I can. So, if you're familiar with Small World from Days of Wonder, that is a game where there's a bunch of races, and you control them, and you control their powers, and you kind of stomp your way through the map, and then eventually your race has to go into decline, and then you pick up another race, etc. Small World of Warcraft is that game, just instead of using the generic fantasy races from Small World, you use the very specific fantasy races from World of Warcraft. I'm going to be incredibly real with you, Jeff. I am so hyped for this game. I can't even put it into words. This is my most anticipated board game of the year, without question.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask when it comes out.
You know what, dude? I don't
Do
know.
they have a release date?
I don't know. Let's look. I thought it was this summer, but let's see if they have a specific date. Let's see here. Look at you being all like asking the tough questions.
I know.
You're turning into a hard as nails journalist.
Getting better every week.
Listen,
But while you're talking about that, speaking of board games, it does get me excited because also in July, Betrayal at Mystery Mansion was moved back from May to July.
all right, so that's gonna be cool.
Which is my most anticipated board game of the year.
I cannot blame you in the least. Yeah, you know what? Doesn't look like anybody's given us a release date.
Okay.
Well, apparently this was at BlizzCon last year. How did I miss that? Kate, here's the thing. Betrayal, the Betrayal he's talking about is Scooby-Doo themed Betrayal. That's going to be amazing. So apparently this was at BlizzCon and I didn't know. Well, I wasn't at BlizzCon, so I guess that matters. Let's see here. Do we know?
Okay, I love Betrayal as well. In fact, right now I'm using Betrayal Legacy to prop up my computer at the right angle.
The article does not list. Let me try one more thing. Maybe on the Days of Wonder site it will tell us. Is there... There isn't even a release date for it on the Days of Wonder site. So I'm safe in saying, I don't know. One of the things that is really cool about this is that they include, and this is, I think, thematically appropriate, they include team rules for the first time. Whereas normally this is a free-for-all game, they include team rules, which makes perfect sense considering World of Warcraft is all about the Horde and the Alliance. So that sounds great to me. Hey, Maggie, come here.
Supposed to go to bed.
Why are you not in bed? She's just decided she's not going to go to sleep. Bear with me while I do parenting. Maggie, please go to bed right now. Maggie. The entire internet is telling you that you need to go to bed right now. And I can't get up, so...
You have 100 books up in my room. 100 books.
Welcome to having children, everybody. I mean, the good news is, on a show like the EFG show, where most people who are watching are likely parents, I can, like, that slides. Like, if this were anything, that's the equivalent of, like, the BBC reporter where, like, the kids snuck in, you know? That's my equivalent. But at least here we get a pass because we all deal with the exact same stuff. Okay. And so that is small World of Warcraft. Very excited for it. Can't wait. No idea when it's coming out. But probably later on this year. We had some breaking news as we went live today.
We did.
Jeff, so why don't you take it away with that tweet?
I am pulling it up because I lost it. There it is. So, there have been new NES and SNES games added to the Nintendo Switch Online library. For the Super NES, you will be getting Operation Logic Bomb, Panel Dupont, and Wild Guns. And for the NES, you will be getting Rygar.
Sure. Sounds great. Those were a little underwhelming, Jeff.
They were. Yeah. Though, I want to say that people were rooting for Rygar in our tournament.
True.
It didn't get past the first round, but people were rooting for it.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. It was really John Roble rooting for it.
And I mean, Panel Dupont, if Panel Dupont doesn't sound familiar, it's known over here in the States as Tetris Attack.
Oh, it's Tetris Attack. Okay, so that's probably that's a little bit better. I'll definitely play it, but cool. Hey, you know what? You already paid for your Switch Online. It's all great from here.
And Wild Guns, it looks like a cool little shooter, though that's not the best cowboy game on the Super Nintendo. I would have to give that to Sunset Riders, but that's just my opinion.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So that is so those are the 4 new games coming to Nintendo Switch Online. And let's see here. All right, next. Oh, we lost my audio or my video for a minute. Let me try to fix that. Hold on just a second, guys. Jeff, why don't you while I try and fix this, you know what? Just everybody give me a moment. I'm having some technical difficulties.
If anyone has any questions, I'll answer them.
Okay, I think.
Yes, Kate, I'm excited about Scooby-Doo Betrayal 2. I never played the Dungeons & Dragon version. Betrayal at, I can't remember what it's called, but I love Betrayal at House on the Hill was one of the games that got me really into what board games could really be. Not your typical Monopoly, Operation, and all that.
Yeah, no, I mean, man, Betrayal is fun. The D&D one, I was around while it was being play tested, so it is actually pretty cool. And but the Scooby-Doo one definitely has me very interested. All right, so and Kate said they started Betrayal Legacy before the Fire Nation attacked and haven't been able to continue it. So, yeah, I mean, that put a lot of our various plans on hold. So I am back. Thank you for everybody. Sorry about the technical difficulties. I've been having problems with the webcam. I'm gonna have to. Well, we got a new desk coming next week, so we're gonna have to fix all this up. Okay. So next. So, wouldn't you know it? GTA 5. Admittedly, not a family-friendly game in any way, but it's free on the Epic Game Store right now. How weird is that? What'd you think of that announcement when they showed it off this morning, Jeff?
I'm like, wow. I mean, does this add to the number of units it's sold? Because I don't think anything's beating this.
No, I mean, I don't know. Does it count if you give it away for free as a sale? I don't know. So, if you have ever been interested in playing that game, obviously it is not for children, but if it's something that you've ever been interested in, it is free on PC. The PC is a pretty good version of it. So, I don't know. For whatever it's worth to us, Grand Theft Auto 5 is free on PC. I don't know. I just thought I'd throw it out there because it's interesting. Realistically, if you haven't signed up for an Epic Game Store account yet, I encourage you to do so because they are constantly giving away games on their service. And I know there are some folks that don't like Epic Game Store, whatever. I'm not going to even get into that stuff. But unless you are opposed to having something on your computer other than Steam to download games, you may as well sign up for an Epic Store and download your free stuff. And if you happen to buy stuff on the Epic Game Store, make sure to use our creator code, EFG, AMING, EF Gaming, because we get a little bit of the cut when you spend your money on the Epic Game Store and use that creator code. Speaking of Epic Game Store, this is our last piece of news, so if anybody watching has any other questions for us, that would be great. We got some confirmation, and this is probably not news because we knew it was going to happen, but it's nice to hear it. We finally got the announcement that Fortnite is coming to next generation consoles day one. And I think this is one of those things, like my son Jacob has asked like a bunch of times, like, is Fortnite going to be like on next gen? And I'm like, of course it is. But like in the back of my head, I'm like, I'm saying this, but I don't really know, right? But now we know. I know for certain it will be there, and it will be out there and available day one. Does the Epic Store have VR games? That's a good question. Let's hop to the Epic Game Store right now and take a look. I will do that on my other computer because that's a very good question. I don't know.
I do not either, but I do not usually play games on a computer, so.
Well, aren't you fancy?
I know. Console all the way.
I mean, that's fine. You know what? They do, in fact, have some VR games that are available. Tetris Effect. Ooh.
Do they have Beat Saber?
Universe. Do they have Beat Saber? I don't know. Let's look. Nope, no Beat Saber. But they do have VR games. Is there a category for them? No, but if you just search VR, they give you a bunch of other stuff. Falcon Age is on there. So there's some VR in there. So it's definitely not their focus, but they do have some VR games. To answer the question for Allison. And by the way, Allison, thank you for watching the show again. Nice to see you again. So yeah, that's the news this week. It was a lot to go through. Just really cool announcements, right? No problem, Allison. Happy to be of service. If I had to pick my favorite part of this week, it was watching that Paper Mario trailer this morning, right? Like that was just such beautiful hype. I absolutely adore that game. And it's not even out yet. So if there's anybody watching that has any additional questions, feel free to shoot them out, and Jeff and I will be able to answer. Otherwise, we just had another successful episode of the EFG show.
Yeah.
We did it.
A lot of news, but we went through it quickly.
We did go through a quick. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, they weren't super meaty. I mean, and we did. They did showcase the Unreal Engine 5. So if you're like a tech head, it is worth going to YouTube and looking up the Unreal Engine 5 debut, because it is very pretty, and they showed off some very cool tech that will help kind of illustrate what's happening in the next like in the coming years for the next generation. So I think that's definitely, if I were to give anybody homework, I think that's a good 10 minutes worth spent, just to see what is going on, because it is very cool. And I'll tell you what, the demo that they use is never going to be made as a game, but like I wish it was. So it's worth giving it a look. Have you seen it, Jeff?
Yeah, it looked really cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. So everybody, definitely go check that out. So until next time, I hope everybody has a great day, and we will see you next week. We've got a really cool episode of the Engaged Family Gaming podcast coming out tomorrow. So until then, and until next week, hope you have a great day, and don't forget
to get your family game on.
Bye, guys.
Bye.